Indian Space Research Organisation was established in 1969. Before the name Isro, Indian National Committee for Space Research (INCOSPAR) was formed by the Department of Atomic Energy, and work on establishing Thomba Equatorial Rocket Launching Station, TERL started. In 1960, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai selected a small villa, GE, to make it a page in the history of Indian space program. India's proud history of rocket science took its baby steps on a bicycle and a bullock cart, in order to be brought to the launch pad. Parts of the NASA-made rocket Nike Apache, a cycle was used. After much labor, on the eve of November 21, 1963, Nike Apache blasted off into space from the garden facing St. Mary Church. The building now houses a space museum where you cannot walk with your shoes on. After the successful launch of Apache, the Space Science and Technology Center established in Thomba. Then the Isro started taking its shape gradually by setting up different stations of specialization. It became Isro in 1969, but it was still not a government organization. Yes, Indian Space Research Organization started as a non-government organization. NASA. When NASA began operations on the 1st of October 1958, NASA absorbed 48-years-old NACA intact, its 8,000-employee, an annual budget of $100 million. Three major research laboratories: Langley Aeronautical Laboratory, Ames Aeronautical Laboratory, Lewis Flight Propulsion Laboratory, and two small test facilities. In December 1958, NASA gained head control of Jet Propulsion Laboratory operated by the California Institute of Technology. While Indian Space Research Organization was being started in a church, the NASA started up as a complete establishment with laboratories, testing sites, and a fair amount of money. It was only in 1975 that Isro became a government organization. First Indian satellite was launched on the 19th of April 1975, known as Aryabhat. It was launched by Russia using a Cosmos 3M launch vehicle. To mark this event, both countries released commemorative stamps and first-day covers. The mission was not a simple one though. The project cost extended a little more than 3 crore rupees because Isro had to buy some furniture as well. Even a toilet was utilized. Yes, you heard that right, a toilet, which was converted into a data receiving center for the first satellite of India. The Reserve Bank of India also launched a 2 rupee note with the image of Aryabhat. The United States began working on rockets decades before NASA was created. America's space program was originally run by the military, with the Army, Navy, and Air Force all working on their own projects. On the 31st of January, 1958, the U.S. Army Ballistic Missile Agency successfully launched first American satellite, the Explorer 1, ESP. Ace craft was designed by the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the same organization behind the Mars exploration rovers of today. Noticeable fact is that a significant contribution to NASA's entry into the space race with Soviet Union was the technology from the German rocket program, led by Werner von Braun, who was now working for the Army Ballistic Missiles Agency, which helped in the launch of first U.S. satellite Explorer 1. From the year 1990, Isro made significant progress in various fields of space. All the missions and launches triggered by Isro got success for a consecutive, continuous 16 years. Yes, all successful, that is up to 2006, which includes INSAT series, Cartosat series, PSLV, etc. On October 22, 2008, Isro launched Chandrayaan-1 from Sriharikota using PSLV C-11, and stunned the world. On May 23, RLV-TD was launched, which is the future of Indian space program. In 2013, the PSLV C-25 launched the Mars Orbiter mission, the game changer from Sriharikota. With this step, India became the first country and the single country until now to send an orbiter to Mars. In its first attempt, Isro is the fourth agency to do so. The MOM costed only Rs 6 per kilometer, which is lower than what auto rickshaws charges in India. Out of 51 missions sent to Red Planet, only 21 are successful, and India or Isro has done it succeeded in its very first attempt. The total budget of the mission was only 450 crore, which is less than the Hollywood movie Gravity's budget. India is among the 6 elite countries who have sent a probe to the moon. Besides these, Isro has launched 180 foreign satellites for 23 countries. Isro is earning $2 per $1 invested in it, that is double. Isro's 40-year budget is equal to NASA's single-year budget. Isro had completed 87 spacecraft and 60 launch missions till now. And, last but not the least, Isro had made a world record in February 2017 by launching 104 satellites in one go, of which 96 were from USA. Number 1. Explorer 1. It was the first U.S. satellite, and it was also the first spacecraft to discover the Van Allen radiation belt. Number 2. Kepler Observatory. The space observatory launched by NASA on March 7, 2009, in the hopes of discovering Earth-like planets. As of January 2015, the data collected from Kepler have found 1013 confirmed exoplanets or planets like Earth. Number 3. Hubble Space Telescope. Launched in 1990 and still in operation, it has led to breakthroughs in astrophysics, such as accurately determining the rate of expansion of the universe. Number 4. Mars rovers. Currently Opportunity and Curiosity rovers have been searching for the evidence of life and ancient water on Mars. NASA has future plans too for Mars. Number 5. Apollo 13. Astronauts who lost 31.5 pounds to dehydration in just 6 days because of the failure of life support systems on board or rescued by the mission control technicians on the ground was a big win for human intelligence. Number 6. Apollo 11. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. The program which sent men on moon. There are various big programs like Voyager spacecrafts, Juno spacecrafts, Galileo probe, and the list goes on. Number 1. Isro is planning Chandrayaan-2, with both an orbiter orbiting around the moon, and a rover, which will land on moon, to collect samples and studies. Both orbiter and rover will work together. Number 2. GSLV Mark III, with cryogenic engines. Number 3. The Sun's Observatory, the ADIDIAL-1. It will be placed around 1.5 million kilometers from Earth and will study Sun and its surface. Number 4. Mars rover. Isro is planning to send a rover to the surface of Mars. Number 5. An orbiter for Venus. Number 6. Research on the reusable rocket for research purposes. Number 1. Journey to Mars. NASA is planning to send humans to Mars. NASA is developing new techniques to send humans beyond Earth's orbit. Number 2. James Webb Space Telescope. It would have 4 key goals. To search for light from the first stars and galaxies that formed in the universe after the Big Bang. To study the formation and evolution of the galaxies. To understand the formation of stars. To study planetary systems and origins of life. Number 3. Orion spacecraft. The Orion Multi-Purpose Crew Vehicle is an American spacecraft, intended to carry a crew of 4 astronauts to destination at or beyond low Earth orbit. Orion is facilitated to human exploration of asteroids and Mars, and to retrieve crew or supplies from the International Space Station, if needed. Number 4. The SLS, the Space Launch System of NASA, intended to send Orion spacecraft into space, is expected to lift off around 2019. Isro was formed with a primary aim to develop a space program that enables the Indian society in meeting its needs and establish self-sufficiency. Until this demand is met, Isro will not really come into competition with NASA. NASA, with a larger freedom of budget and no pressing national need, has looked for ambitious projects ever since its inception. In terms of efficiency, yes, Isro is better than NASA. In quantitative terms of space missions, no, Isro is nowhere before NASA. In the year 1975, amidst the celebrations Following the launch of India's first satellite, the rest of the world didn't bat an eyelid. Launching a satellite was so 1957. The Soviets and the Americans had been moonwalking between coffee breaks by then. Of course, India had reasons like poor funding for space programs and the general lack of enthusiasm by the Indian population, but at the time, the global perception of Isro, the Indian Space Research Organization, was akin to a cat chasing a laser pointer. Although there were a lot of failed missions, Isro always found a way to get back up. Eventually, it would get a 34 successful launches in a row streak. Then, Mangalyaan happened. With that, India became the sixth country whose scientists and engineers showed sufficient smarts and funding to do this. What's more, the achievement was not only to successfully send a satellite to Mars, but to do so on their first try. Isro spent only $75 million. The Americans, who entered Martian orbit just 3 days before the Indian Mars orbiter mission, with their Maven satellite, spent $683 million, or 9 times more. Most space organizations like NASA are succumbing to more reasonable approaches by commercial organizations like SpaceX. This is why Isro is arguably doing much better than NASA and USSR. Needless to say, it had better take a leaf out of history. The hardest part of any organization is actually the part that comes after that. Let's just hope Isro has what it takes to keep the throne warm.